Hey everyone, and welcome to the fourth call in the Southern Romantics New Consultant Webinar Training Calls. This week we're talking about speeches, games, and discounts. But real quick, I wanted to check with our team to see how they did on the homework, which was from last week's call. We talked about goal setting, and so we had asked you to set up a small business checking account for your business. If you've created a savings bottle to start your savings, to share pics of that on our Facebook page, and to complete the 12-month business plan that's available for you on the COO. So quickly, if we can just go through and see how everyone did with that, if you did it, and if you didn't do it, just let us know where you're at. So who would like to go first?
I do already have my my checking account,
Mm-hmm.
and I did make a bottle with the last webinar, so I already have that started.
Perfect.
And I didn't make a new business plan, which I need to, though.
All right. Fantastic. Thanks, Cindy. Who else?
Well, I just did my checking account, and I do have a bottle, but I don't have it upstairs. So I can get rid of that. But I did do that. But I did not do the last part either.
That's okay.
Yay!
You've got time.
Yeah.
Who else?
The same boat as Cindy. I have the jar from last time, and of course I have the checking account, and I was trying to go through the webinar lesson from last week right before this one, so I have a little bit jotted down, but not a lot.
That's totally fine. All right, I know Jessica did at least one of those chores because I got the email notification. So what have you knocked out?
Well, I wasn't on the last call, so, but I do already have somebody interested in hosting a party.
Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Great. I saw that you did your 12-month business plan on the COO.
Yes, I do have that to print out, and I've been just working on the party school today, and
Yay.
like your guide, and then about to go through the 44 pages of the incentive requirement guide.
Yes, I know. It's so exciting, isn't it? It's good to know.
It's good stuff to know, because I was reading the table of contents and I was like, oh, okay, this is all very helpful. This is probably all the stuff I've been pestering you with. So
That's what I tell everybody. I'm like, make sure you read it. It's boring, but it's worth it. All right. So thanks for the quick recap. We're going to put you guys on mute, even though I love you, and then we'll get to training. So y'all know that I'll open it back up for Q&A at the end. Boom. So what we're talking about today, like I said earlier, is speeches, games, and discounts. The first thing that we're going to talk about is first impressions. So it's super important, as always, to be making a good first impression when you are with your hostesses and your customers, or even when you're out representing the business. So if you are doing your 5 is Alive and you're handing out goodie bags, you want to make sure that, you know, your hair is done, got some makeup on, you're dressed appropriately. Because if you look like you just got out of the trauma at the hospital and you're covered in blood and guts and gore and your hair is all crazy, or you just left the gym and your makeup's running down your face and you're like, oh my God, you have to book a party with me. That might not be necessarily the best first impression that your hostess or your customers are going to get. We always say the first 30 seconds earns you the next 5 minutes of conversation. So making sure you're not wasting your customers or your hostess's time, and making sure that they're comfortable and they feel comfortable around you and they're able to trust you. Connection and trust are the cornerstones of your future business. Your I story, which we talked a lot about at the Empowerment Summit this week, that makes you more relatable to your customers. So making sure you've got that down pat. So we call it your I story. We've also called it in the past the opening speech. So we talked a little bit about that at the Empowerment Summit this week, and I'm going to make sure that when I have access to that information, I'll update it for you guys on the Dropbox link. But we're going to take a look at the opening speech formula that I was trained to use and seems to work pretty well. So the whole idea of your opening speech is literally to get people to realize that you're not crazy, you're not a monster, you're just a typical person who happens to be a pure romance consultant. So I'm going to share my screen so you guys get a chance to look at this. This is a PDF that you can just print out It's only 2 pages long, and it's just literally fill in the blanks. So when you're brand new, started in your business, something that you're always going to want to do is consider your why. Your why is what gets you out of bed. When it's cold and rainy and you'd rather just sit in bed with a pot of coffee and a good book and your pet to snuggle with, your why is going to get you out the door and meeting those new connections. So what do you want from your business? What's the purpose in owning your business? How is your life going to change because of this business? This is something that you guys should always have in the back of your mind, and it will change. I know some people are like, well, your why never changes, but as you accomplish different goals and as your situation changes, the reason you get out of bed is going to change. And then just make that into an easy, concise sentence like what you see here. The best part of being a consultant is that I've been able to help so many women learn more about their bodies and their desires. It's such a fulfilling way to spend my time. Some days I can't believe I get paid to party like this. Or what I love most about this job is I never, ever, ever have to miss the most important moments in my children's lives, and I don't have to deprive them of anything either. So think about what your why is, and then I just encourage you guys to write it down right here. And then, of course, we want to make sure we're being good storytellers. You don't want your I story to be 20 minutes long because they want to see the goodies that you have with you. So don't just tell them everything about you and everything you've accomplished. So just like, I don't know, I feel like it's 8th grade English class, you're going to talk about setup, conflict, climax, resolution. So setting up, then your conflict, what's keeping you from achieving the life that you want, the climax, but keep it clean. Where you reach the breaking point where you were like, okay, this is how I'm going to change my life. And then the resolution, now that I chose pure romance, how is my life better? So again, this is just taking some creative thinking on your steps. So I would encourage you guys to make sure you're working on this week if you haven't already created your I story. And then these are the 4 elements, which is really handy because it is just like a Mad Lib, fill in the blank. I used to, and this happened. So now, like, it just seems really simple. Some of the most important words you can use when you're communicating with your customers and partners, hostesses, and your partners, that we get trained on a lot is feel, felt, and found, especially if we're overcoming objections. And we'll talk more about that, but you can also use it in your I story. So a lot of my customers feel this way, but I've found, or, you know, that kind of stuff. So that's a great way to help get over and make it more relatable. People just kind of are naturally drawn to those words because then they can imagine themselves in that position. So maybe including some of those in your I story is a great way to connect to people. And again, you can see this laid out here on the sheet. So I used to be a nurse, and the long hours didn't allow me to spend time with my children. So I started my own business with Pure Romance. Now I choose what hours I work. Boom, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And look, here's where you can write yours in too. Yay! So you can include additional details. How else has your life changed? What are some of the unexpected benefits that you didn't realize you'd have? What maybe was thrown at you that you didn't expect? And then how did you overcome that as well? Woohoo! And then, of course, make sure we have a conclusion, some sort of, and they all lived happily ever after. So if you can relate to what I've said, let's talk about it in the shopping room at the end of the night. I can give you more information about doing what I do. Boom. So again, it's going to be short and simple. You should have absolutely no problem talking about yourself. You're going to know yourself better than anybody else, and you're going to know the journey that led you to this point where you're going to start your Pure Romance career. And it's fine if you haven't had 1,000 and million years of life experience. It's fine if you don't have 10,000 kids that you want to make sure you're spending time with. Your story is going to relate to someone. So don't ever negate your story or say, oh, I don't have a good enough story. You have debt. Other people have debt. People want to get out of debt. Boom. All right. So that is a little bit more about your opening speech. You want to make sure that you touch on some of the hostess benefits at some point throughout your evening. You can do that in your opening speech. So you can talk about free shopping spree, free gifts, VIP status. And we've learned that it's easier and mainly better to use whole numbers instead of percentages, because when you tell someone, oh my gosh, you're going to get a 10% shopping spree, they see that as really small. But if you say, my hostesses on average earn anywhere between $75 and $150, people are like, that's great, because that's like 8 bottles of whipped. You know, they can kind of put that on, they can put a value to that number. Make sure you're talking about a book as, oh my God, my words, a booking and a bonus incentive. So different than your hostess benefits. If you're like, and you know, we're getting ready for Valentine's Day, I'm running this contest of blip, that encourages your customers to secure a date and get them kind of thinking about booking their own party. We want to make sure you don't become a one-night stand. We want your customers to keep coming back to you month after month after month. You also, in your iStory and in your opening speech, touch on some of the dynamics of the show. Some people say they've got rules for their party, but this is going to include your left is your liquor, your right is your sniffer, how to make your wish list, what's going to happen in the shopping room. Again, no men or children. You might want to touch on like the no judgy McJudgy pants or anything fun like that. So all of that can be within your first little opening speech. Again, I wouldn't allow this to take more than 5 minutes. And as you practice it, it'll become more routine. You'll get used to it. I say the same thing at every single party, but when I try to change it up, of course, I like stumble over my words. And then that, again, sometimes makes me more relatable, because sometimes I know that I can sound too polished. So me messing things up helps me in the long run, because people are like, okay, you don't have to be perfect at this job. So don't worry if you stumble over any of your speeches, because that just means you're human like the rest of us. Okay. So another thing that we want to talk about is your closing speech. So we've just had an incredible party. They really connected with you through your opening speech. They absolutely loved the mild and the liquid line. You got them laughing with some jokes, playing a couple games, and now we just finished up the toys and their wish lists are out of control. So we need to make sure we're putting a happy little cherry on top, and we're not just like, and that's it, bye, come shop with me, because that doesn't always work. So we want to make sure that our closing speech has the same impact that our opening speech does. So we want to make sure we recap how the party sales and discounts work. So what is our hostess going to get? Always, oh my gosh, always thank your hostess. How you're going to collect your customer connection cards. Those are gold. So make sure that you're collecting those before you get into the ordering room. Don't depend on them to bring them, because if they have to go, they're taking it with them. So I always collect them before I go in. So even if, you know, someone's got to go pay the babysitter and they're going to call me tomorrow with their order, now I have their number so I can actually call them. You might want to touch on the shipping and the tax. So shipping and handling and taxes, so that doesn't take them by surprise in the ordering room. If you carry inventory, a great way to kind of let them know about that is just say it's a convenience fee. Since I already prepaid the shipping for it to be here tonight, this is a reimbursement for that. What payments do you accept? All right, so if you don't take checks, you want to make sure they know that you don't take checks. You should always coach your hostess on that too. So let her friends, or let her know to tell her friends to bring cash or credit or checks or money orders or whatever kind of payment you're going to take. Remind them that ordering is private. You're never going to tell a soul what they buy, but if they come out and tell everybody, that's totally on them. And again, continue to thank the hostess. Planting your seeds during the party and during the closing speech, that's a great way for you to ensure future party bookings. And I have another little closing speech, kind of like a little worksheet for you guys to take a gander at real quick. Let me get that up and running now. You guys don't want to see that. Okay. Oh, did we lose someone? Did we lose Jessica? Oh man, come back, Jessica, come back. Okay, so here it's just a Word document. It's not like a pretty little PDF, but it works. And again, this will become more routine. You'll get used to saying this out loud. So you're gonna do everything I just told you guys. Thank the hostess, get the connection cards, how the shopping room is gonna work. One-on-one, please stress the one-on-one, because as soon as you get more than one person, they're gonna both be vying for your attention. God forbid you have inventory in the room, they're gonna be rifle and throw at. You wanna make sure you give them the attention they deserve. Make sure people know where the shopping room is. If she's got you tucked away on the 3rd floor at the end of the hallway on the left, and it's too much work to come find you, people will not be able to find you. So I always try to get a room close to the door if at all possible. That way I can run in and out really quickly to pack up orders. And I get to kind of spy on people if they're leaving early, so I know who to call. Shh. Make sure you've got the business details, so how people can find you, how they can sign up. Woo! And payment. Dun, 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 dun. Open orders, the same as back orders. If there's any back orders, they'll be mailed to you within 10 business days. That's what we always say in Pure Romance, because you don't want your customers waiting more than 10 business days. Any of the current sales that you're offering, make sure you let them know about that. I also use some of those as a tease, and I do have some secret sales and specials, but you've got to come see me in the ordering room to figure out what they are. Ooh, so that might bring someone in that was a little hesitant to come see you because they want to save a couple extra dollars. And thank the group again, and thank each guest individually. So here's a little sample script that again, this needs to be updated because we just upped the shipping charge to $7. So we're going to save that real quick so you guys have that. So I'm going to make sure you guys have access to this. I'm not going to read it out loud because you guys can do that later. Boom. Oh, Jessica's back. Yay! We missed you. Okay. So we're going to talk about some games real quick. When we were at the Empowerment Summit this week, one of the things I like is Pure Romance really works with us on our verbiage, like what we're going to say to people. And they really stress changing game to commercial, because games to a lot of consultants makes it sound optional, but commercial means that it's pretty much necessary and it's a requirement. So think about it. When you're watching your favorite show and it stops for commercial break, you know the only reason you're able to watch that show is because someone had to pay money to sponsor that show. And so they get a guaranteed commercial break. So like my husband has been watching football all weekend, and every 30 seconds there's been a commercial for ESPN this, and I'm like, we don't even have cable. Why? I feel like we're watching ESPN with all the commercials they've had. But it's football, it's playoffs, it's fancy time. I don't know what's happening, but ESPN paid a whole lot of money to make sure that they got some coverage, and so that the football game could be available to everybody, even if they didn't have cable, to try to get us to sign back up for cable. Not going to happen. So I want your booking commercial and your sponsoring commercial to be absolutely necessary, because your bookings run your business and team building runs your business. That is what will keep your business going throughout time, all of time. So don't call it a game, call it a commercial. And you are more than welcome to say, and now we're going to interrupt this party for a quick team building commercial. And then you can do your game or ask the 4 questions that came in that sweet booklet. Hopefully you guys got. And same with booking. And now we're going to interrupt this your regularly scheduled party for a quick booking commercial, where you're going to talk to them about how to book a party or do a little booking incentive or bonus to get them going. So I just want you guys to kind of think about that. There's a lot of great party games / now commercials available on the COO. Let me see if I can pull those up for you so quick. Hold on. It's going to take me a second because, it takes me forever to do anything. Let's pull this out so you guys don't have to see my 20,000 tabs that are open. All right. So share screen. Here we go. Yay! So this is a COO. You guys have seen this before. Did someone go shopping on my website? My number just changed. Cool. Oh no, maybe that was that new product set. The retail finally caught up. Okay, so when we go over to Training Center, all about the party. So once you're done with party school, then you have permission to run around this whole side of the world. Hurry up. Here we go. Okay. Effective party games. So in this middle column, halfway down, effective party games, a lot of consultants spend a lot of time trying to create their own games. You don't need to do that because we did it for you. So at your party, and see, look, they even changed it over here already. It already says commercials. Yay! Okay, so you want to play an icebreaker at the beginning. Your party games / commercials should always serve a purpose. It's not just there to waste time. When people are like, I want to book a bachelorette party, do you play a lot of games? I say, of course I do. And if there's any really fun games that you want to play, you can do that while I'm in the ordering room. And that way, you know, blah, blah, blah. If they want to do, you know, pin the penis on the guy hanging on the wall or like make the wedding dress out of toilet paper, that's not going to make me any money. So they can do that when I am in the ordering room taking care of business. But an icebreaker game is going to be fan-friggin-tastic to kind of help get to know everybody's names. People love hearing their own names. And especially if the crowd is a little like, this is going to get them giggling and laughing and kind of just set the tone for the evening and get everybody on even playing ground. Booking commercials, again, these are great party booking opportunities. So just make sure you guys are reading through this because it's amazing. You guys know I'm all about some tickets. The balloon one is really fun. Takes a little bit more planning. So if you've got like a car that can handle a lot of balloons, that might be a fun one. I'm full of hot air, so I don't know why I don't play that one more. Boom. But the sponsoring commercials is awesome. I make sure to always play this. I always play, you guys know I play Ask Me Anything where I hand out tickets, but I might go ahead and do the one with the pre-printed questions just so I'm answering the questions that I want to answer because people will be like seriously struggling. But I'm like, you can ask me anything about pure romance, and they're like, what's your favorite product? And I'm like, okay, that's not what I wanted you to ask. I want you to ask me how much money I make. So when you already have all those questions pre-printed out and you just are like, I need 8 volunteers. Me. You give them an envelope, they ask a question in an envelope, you give them like a ticket, goes into a drawing, boom. So that way the good information is getting out there and you're in control of the party or you're in control of the commercial and you already know the answer to it. So they're not just going to put you on the spot and be like, what's your husband's favorite product? You know the answers that you'll be able to knock those questions right out of the park. And then income boosting commercials. These are awesome. So this is how you're going to turn that like $500 party into an $800 or $1,000 party. So your game should always serve a purpose. Breaking the ice, booking you more parties, adding some team members, or helping you earn more money that night. All right, so if money's just left on the table with people, oh, I'm gonna call you my next paycheck, try to get them to call that night, like make that order tonight. So these are all available. Some of these you can even send to the hostess beforehand. I've done it party squares multiple times and you can coach to hostess foreplay. You know, if you have 10 shoppers, I'll give you this much money. If you book 2 parties before your party, I'm gonna give you this much in hostess credit. So this is just gonna help get your hostesses working for you. So the turnout's going to be fantastic and the friends that come are there to spend money. Boom. So all this lives on your COO and it can't wait to meet your beautiful eyes. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. Boom, 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 boom. Ooh, discounts. Let's talk about discounts, y'all. So the biggest sin you can commit, 10 minutes left. Yeah, I'm going to have to just pay for the big one. I'm just going to have to bite the bullet so you guys can see my face all the time. And then actually when I was talking to everybody at the Empowerment Summit, Brittany, you're going to love this because they're like, we Zoom all of our team meetings. So even though you're so far away that you can just Zoom with us and my girl in Texas can Zoom and your new girl up in Jacksonville can Zoom and we can all be on the meeting together. So I might not have that in time for tomorrow, but I'm going to work on it. I'll put Erica in charge of researching that sometime this week. How much is it going to cost me? Okay, so let's talk about discounts. The biggest thing you can commit is giving away your whole entire store. So consider Pure Romance to be like a boutique experience. So when you go to get your hair done, you're getting a blowout, like you got an event, you want your hair to be amazing and withstand all the crazy wind that's going to happen and look awesome in pictures that are going to last a lifetime. when you go to that salon and your stylist is putting all this crazy stuff in your hair and your hair looks amazing and you know you're never going to recreate it at home. And you're like, oh my gosh, what did you use? And she lists like the 17 products she used. And she's like, and you can have them today for, she's not giving you a discount. You know that the hairspray is 20 bucks. You know that the volumizing mousse is like 50 bucks. You know that everything is just full price. Not to mention your color cut, your blowout, right? So we're a boutique experience. Don't discount your whole entire store. You want to make sure that people are getting complimentary items. And I know a lot of consultants are having success with payment plans where they require a 50% deposit down. If they carry inventory, they actually give people that inventory, but they get the credit card number and the next payment date, and they run the credit card on that day. So it's worked for some people. I know in South Carolina, there's like certain, like you can take it to small claims court if they do renege on it, but it's something to think about. So make sure your discounts are effective. Don't give away everything just to get the sale, because your goal in this for a lot of you is to make money. So let's make sure you're making the most amount that you can. Experience selling is going to be your best friend. Some people used to call it upgrade or upselling, but you want them to make sure they're having the experience. So when you are demoing the Playmate and you're using Whipped and you show them how the toy cleaner cleans everything up, and they come in and they buy the Playmate and that's all they want to get, and you're like, okay, great, thanks, it's $32, oh, bye. When they get home and they're going to use the Playmate on their partner, he's not going to have the experience, y'all, because he doesn't have a lubricant. That toy's going to get funky real quick. So you want to make sure that you're not just like, you need to buy all this stuff, but letting them know that, you know, for him to have the full experience, he's going to need these products as well. And for you to get the most out of your freshly shaven legs, you want to make sure you're using Body Dew, and you want to make sure you're putting like Body Silk or Revive on your feet. So making sure that you are giving your customers the full experience, because we always know that people buy things for two reasons: to increase pleasure and decrease pain. So if you're only selling them or letting them know and letting them leave with only half of what they need, you're losing sales, and your customer's not going to be happy with the product, because they're going to have this vision in their mind of how their night's going to go, and the C-ring is going to be amazing. And then when the night's over and they're in like the throes of orgasmic bliss and they try to take it off and there's no lube left, they're going to be like, curses, I hate you, pure romance. So we want to make sure they're always smiling when they think of us. And a lot of this does come with experience, knowing what products pair with the others. But that's why we have all these amazing trainings. Yay! So just know that you can only do so much. People will still tell you no, but you just want to make sure that you've covered all your bases and that you let everybody know. And you should know that if they're buying a toy, they need a lube, a cleaner, and a toy tote. So they can't just leave with one when they should have 4 things. So that's up to you to make sure they've got as close to all 4 things as possible to make sure they're getting their money's worth out of their toy. The worst thing in the world is to spend $100 on a toy that's going to rock your world, and then you clean it inappropriately and it gets funky and it dies, or you're using the wrong lube and it melts. Like that is it's just a waste of money. So just making sure that their money is paying off. It ends up being pennies per orgasm when they get everything done the right way. So making sure that's up. So you like that, Jessica? Hey, it's a great investment. You can use that one. Write it down. So experience selling, that's what's up. And again, it comes with experience. Shadow a couple parties, see what people are doing, see how they're upgrading and upselling without it being like pushy. And if you're watching any of the videos of other people in the ordering room that are floating around on YouTube in the COO, a lot of people do it and they're just so smooth. And you're like, whoa, how'd you do that? And it's pretty amazing because you're like, what? That just went from like a $50 order to a $150 order real quick. So that's, a bunch of profit in your pocket. Okay, and then package deals. If you're feeling generous, and if you know that like Susie Q really wants Magic Mike, but you can't afford a lube, then you can give her a package deal. I would do that on like a case-by-case basis. So you know that she's not going to have the best time without all the fun stuff that goes along with it. So you can take 10% off both or whatever you're feeling generous. Some people used to do, if you bought the toy, the lube, and the toy tote, then you get the cleaner for free. They called it a TLC deal. So you can think about doing that. Or if they buy the toy, the lube, and the cleaner, they get the toy tote free. So finding little ways to package it, but again, don't make that an across-the-board thing, because then if you're just giving one whole product away for free, yeah, it's going to help your retail, but it's not necessarily going to help your pocketbook. If you're going to do big sales like flash sales, if you haven't watched my video or my YouTube strain on that, only do them once or twice a year. Do them when you've got a customer base that can support a big sale like that, and only sell what you've got in stock. If you don't carry stock, don't do a flash sale. I love you guys, but it's not your time. So work your way up to that, because you don't want, I know Jessica loves me and she loves my flash sales, and that's why she decided to become a pure romance consultant, but you want to make sure that you've got the customer base to support it, or else you're going to feel like you're losing so much money. My goal at my flash sales is to get rid of my inventory. The money is nice, but I'm selling $6,000 worth of stuff and I'm pocketing anywhere between $1,500 and $2,000. So it sounds like a lot at once, but if you know that I bought that stuff for like so much cheaper, my profit margin could have been so much higher, but it's just an inventory reduction sale. So don't get caught up in the whole thing like I have to offer sales online. Don't be the girl that's always offering sales online, because then nobody will see the need to book a party with you in real life. And parties are the base of our business. Getting in front of new people is the base of our business. So you have to make sure that you've got your parties down pat, and that people love and know and trust you. Blah, 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 blah. So real quick, your homework, we've got less than 2 minutes remaining. So when I tell you your homework, then we'll sign off, and then we'll open up the Q&A in a new window. So just be prepared for that. But your homework, yay! Your homework is to practice your opening and closing speeches before next week, and we'll allow you guys some time to share those on camera. Remember, you don't have to have them 100%, but the more you practice, the better you're gonna be at them. And the more natural it sounds coming out of your face, the more people will buy it. And I want you to prepare your 30-second commercial or elevator speech before the call. And I'd love to get those on film too. Heck, we might just have to have a sharing session call that I film, and then we'll actually log out and log back in and do our training call. So your 30-second commercial is on your, what is it called? Soundbites Conversation Guide sheet, which I'm about to share with you. Imagine that before we're out of time. Oh my God. So this will also be available in the Dropbox link I am gonna post with this. So it looks like this. Boom. This comes in your kit, so if you haven't popped your box yet, or if you haven't received your kit yet, it's in there. But right down here on the lower left-hand side, your Pure Romance commercial, practice saying this. So when you meet someone at the grocery store, what do? Boom. That's what you do. When you're talking to someone at a gas station, that's what you do. And with that, I want to thank you guys for being on this call today. We're going to log off, and hopefully everyone will be able to log back on in just a couple seconds for our Q&A. Thanks.